Welcome back. We're starting chapter 3 today, and whenever we start a new chapter, we usually have lots of new definitions and terms that we need to define, and that will be the case with this chapter as well. We are going to talk about different kinds of lines and angles, and we will be identifying relationships between different figures, and also identifying specific types of angles that are formed by two lines cut by a transversal. To start off with, we'll talk about parallel lines. Parallel lines are coplanar. Remember, coplanar means they are in the same plane. They do not intersect, and we give them a special symbol of two parallel lines, and that those symbols mean is parallel to. So symbolically, we could say line AE is parallel to line BF. So AE here is parallel to BF. Or we could say line AD is parallel to BC, and this is how we would write that in mathematical symbols. Now, skew lines, these are different. These ones are sometimes more difficult for students. Skew lines are not in the same plane. They are not coplanar. They're not parallel, and they don't intersect. So examples of skew lines might be segment AB or line AB and line CG back here. They're not in the same plane, they don't intersect, and they are not parallel. We can also have parallel planes or parallel segments. Parallel planes might be ABCD and EFGH. We can also have parallel segments or parallel rays. In this problem, we want to find out for part A, it says which segments are parallel to side AB. So which segments would be parallel to this? Well, I think you can see side EF back here that's hidden would be parallel. Side CD and side GH would also be parallel to side AB. So there's an example of the ones that are parallel to AB. For part B, which segments are skew to CD? And I didn't copy that figure over. So the ones that are skew to CD. So here's CD. So an example of segments that might be skew would be FG or BF or EH. Okay, or F, let's see, what else do we have here? FG, I already said that one. Those are all skew. They don't intersect, they're not parallel, and they're not in the same plane. What are two pairs of parallel planes? Well, we talked about that already. ABCD and EFGH would be parallel planes. We could also have ABFE, the left side of that box, is also parallel to CDHG. So those are parallel as well. Two segments that are parallel to BCGF. So that's the back side, BCGF. Two segments that would be parallel, you could have the front segment AD. You could have the front segment DH. You could also have AE or EH. Those are all parallel to the back plane. This one says, use the figure in problem 1. Which segments are parallel to AD? So why don't you go ahead and pause the video and see if you can come up with some segments that are parallel to AD, and we will get the answers when we come back. All right, I hope you tried that on your own. Segments that are parallel to AD. AD is the front segment, so we could have BC here, we could have EH, or we could have FG. All of those would be parallel to AD. Why, it says, the second part of that says, explain why FE, which is the bottom left side here, and CD are not skew. It's because they're parallel. Remember, skew lines cannot be parallel, and so those do not qualify as skew lines. What angle pairs are formed when a line intersects coplanar lines? Well, in this picture, we're going to talk about a lot of different kinds of angles. First of all, a transversal is a line. This line T here is called a transversal, and it intersects two or more coplanar lines at distinct points. Okay, and there are 8 angles that are formed when we have two lines cut by a transversal. We have some interior angles and some exterior angles. Now, the shaded bluish color ones are exterior angles. Those are angles 1, 2, 7, and 8. Those are on the outside. They are exterior. They're on the outside edge. The interior angles are 3, 4, 5, and 6. They are on the interior of the two lines. Okay, so we're going to be identifying those and giving some specific names as we move along here. So, interior angles. Some alternate interior angles are non-adjacent interior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. For example, 3 and 5 are alternate interiors. They're on opposite sides of the transversal. This line that crosses the two other lines is called the transversal. And because these are on opposite sides, 3 and 5 are alternate interior angles. 4 and 6 are also alternate interior angles. In the next example, same side interior angles. Okay, these are the interior angles are 3, 4, 5, and 6. If they're on the same side, 3 and 6 would be same side interior angles, just like 4 and 5 would as well. Corresponding angles, those lie on the same side of the transversal and they're in corresponding positions. For example, angle 1 and angle 5 are on the top sides of the lines that cut the transversal, so we say they are corresponding. 4 and 8 are also corresponding. They're on the bottom side of the two lines. 7 and 3 would be corresponding, as well as 2 and 6. Alternate exterior angles. Remember, we just talked about alternate interiors. Now we're going to talk about the exteriors that are alternate. So angle 2 and angle 8 are alternate exterior angles. Remember, the exterior angles are on the outside of the two lines, and they have to be on opposite sides of the transversal. So 2 and 8 or 1 and 7 would be alternate exterior angles. All right, so in this figure, which is a pair of alternate interior angles? Well, right away when we're talking about interior angles, we're talking about 2, 3, 7, and 6. We know it's not going to be 1, 8, 4, or 5 because those are exterior angles. And if they're alternate, it's either going to be 2 and 6 or 3 and 7. Well, the only pair we have there are 2 and 6. So letter C is our correct answer. Use the figure in problem 2. So I've redrawn that figure for us. What are 3 pairs of corresponding angles? Remember, corresponding angles are in the same position. So we could say angles 1 and 3. We could say 2 and 4, 8 and 6, or 7 and 5. So any 3 of those would be corresponding angles. Problem number 3, classifying an angle pair. In this photo of a museum in Canada, angles 2 and 4, it says are angles 2 and 4 alternate interior angles, same side interior angles, corresponding angles, or alternate exterior angles? Well, if we look at 2 and 4, they're definitely interior angles, so we can eliminate any exterior angle options. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal, so that would make them alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. And the last one says in problem 3 are angles 1 and 3. Are those going to be alternate interiors, same side interior, corresponding, or alternate exterior? So 1 and 3. You decide which one you think that is and bring your answer to class, and we'll talk about it when you get to class. See you next time.